Okay, you're on.
How about I
Red
put it
light
down
on,
like you had the
right.
other day?
I will.
Well, to get back to the story, I was
In college.
relating.
Put a lid on it.
No, he's telling you the story, Keith.
Yep.
The thing is,
Yeah, that's right. Shoot it at Grandma every time she talks.
With a 12 gauge.
she knows how to shut me up.
The story. That's what I wanted, right?
Right. How you guys got to Racine from here?
Well, I went to school down Hayes College
From?
from Utica. And this was in 1932 and 3. And I got through that first year all right, but the second year I ran out of money.
Tell him what you did.
Oh, goodness sakes, I played in the dance band.
What was the name of the band? Do you remember?
We didn't even have a name.
Didn't have a name.
No. Most money we ever made, we made $8 a piece one night. It was, boy, that was good
Depression
time.
days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of the time, we got home at about 6 in the morning, and I'd grab a couple of aspirin and eat a cup of, or drink a cup of coffee and shoot off to class and sleep. So I was not too successful in my college days, as you may well gather. But from when we ran out of money, when I ran out of money, went to Kansas City, worked in the, got a job in the old Engelman cafeteria, and for my meals. Got a job later at the, what was the name of that hotel?
Buckingham.
Buckingham, the Buckingham Hotel. And worked on the switchboard for the room. The room was right over the hot water heater for the whole building. You know, it got so hot in summertime.
Oh, gosh, I bet.
Sun was good. And
With his roommate,
decided I would go to business college and take up
Merrill.
stenotype for court reporting. And what next?
You did so.
Yeah, I did so. Oh, that's right. And went down to, well, I went several places to interview, but in Massey Harris, by the old boy.
You forgot to tell him we got married.
Yeah, we did.
When was that?
We did.
Where did that fit in?
While he was going to school and working in the hotel, a couple of kids from western Kansas were, the boy was his roommate, one of the men who he was in the dance band with, and more or less grew up with. And I roomed with, he wanted me to come down about them, and I did, and worked on the switchboard, and roomed with this boy's sister. And
Names?
Wanda and Merle Wheatcroft. And what was the date? When
Those
were
were friends you had in
1936.
Dayton.
We were married.
Mhm.
They were from
Friends you-
Dayton. Then we were married in 1936. Then, after we'd been married a while, and I got pregnant, and you had to go look for a job. That's what happened.
Oh, yeah, I got,
But you didn't say how you supported yourself.
I worked at a restaurant for my meals, for one meal a day, and I worked in a tap room for more or less tips and so on for whatever small amount of spending money I had.
Tap room is like a bar.
Uh-huh.
Who scrubbed floors at
It was a little local.
Hand went up.
Kermit's scrubbed floors in Engelman's cafeteria.
mhm.
And
Yeah, that was, I had 2 jobs there.
Uh-huh.
At Engelman's and one at the hotel. And I went to school in the evenings from 5 till 8 or 9 or something like that.
I don't know.
And then I went over and scrubbed floors and got that out of the way. And went home, went to the hotel.
Anyway, it became necessary for him to find a job.
Wait, what did you do on the weekends for entertainment?
Oh goodness, you could ride the streetcar all over town.
No, she means Camp Alloway. And the shows that you could go to were a quarter.
Yeah, you could go to the Main Street Theater before 1 o'clock for a quarter. And we saw the Mills Brothers and Cab Calloway. and-
Wow.
Oh,
Duke
goodness.
Ellington?
Yeah, Duke
Big
Ellington.
Spiderback, or was,
No, Bix, I think had passed away with that.
he was just a favorite.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
That was before
For a
I
quarter.
went down there.
Was
And you could stay there all day if you
That's
wanted
great.
to, you know, after, as long as you got in there.
That's great.
They had
didn't kick you
dances.
out.
Yeah.
People go to dances.
Huh.
But you rode the streetcars too? Was that?
See, you bought a pass for $1 a week?
I don't know.
Seems to me that's what it was. And you could ride that for the entire week if you wanted to. Just get on the car and stay there.
Okay, tell them about getting the job at Massey Harris.
Oh, yeah. Went down to,
I didn't say anything great.
got this interview with this old boy. And he gave me dictated a letter just full of terms with which I was already familiar, you know, about combines and tractors and so on. So I just breezed through that. He was very highly impressed.
You're familiar because of living out here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he said, well, can't give you anything right now, but maybe later. So I literally hounded him to death. I went back every week, you know.
Uh-huh.
Until finally he gave up and just gave me a job. He said, okay, you can go to work as a billing on the Moons Hopkins billing machine.
As
And
go to work as what?
as a biller.
As a
on-
biller, oh.
On the Moons Hopkins billing machine. It was like a typewriter, but it carried the extensions. For instance, you might have 9 number 8503 parts in the description of them at so much per part, and it would multiply,
I see.
would extend and carry the total down to the bottom of the page.
Take an inventory, in other words, right?
No, not in this deal.
Okay.
Inventory we took on the old Moons Hopkins, no, on the, what were those cards called?
Well, that isn't really that important.
No, but they were cards used, Hollerith cards.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm. Greg knows what I mean. And there were, several girls and a boy who wrote out these things. It would give the part number and the quantity on the card, on the Hollerith card. And then it would be reprinted by another machine. It was the closest thing at that time to, well, in fact, it was a forerunner of the computer setup. And
He made $60 a month.
yeah,
And
Big
when I
wins.
had to quit work, the switchboard, I was running the switchboard in the meantime for our room, and I was still working for my meals. And when I had to quit work, then we had to find an apartment. So we found a little apartment in this bad part of town.
This is in Racine?
No, this
no,
was in Omaha. This was in
Oh,
Kansas
in
City.
Kansas City, okay.
$25 a month, and I think we had $5 a month to spend on groceries. And Kermit's fare, and that was about it.
$5 a month for groceries?
You could buy.
A week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hamburger was 25 cents a pound.
Mhm.
And
Tomatoes, I believe, were 2 cans for a quarter.
I don't know, but anyway, and then this branch opened up in Omaha, Nebraska, and they transferred Kermit to Omaha.
As a cashier.
Mhm. And Kermit was, that was in January, and then in February, we found another furnished apartment, sheets and everything in it, because we didn't have any, for $35 a month. And in a month, lo and behold, we had twins.
Oh, God.
You didn't expect twins.
In Omaha. Oh, you didn't? Oh, man.
No,
See, we were married in January and the twins were born in February.
a year later.
I ruined my story.
We didn't want that down and recorded.
Oh, so it is true then?
No, it is not. And so we paid $35 a month rent furnished. We had to buy a refrigerator to keep the milk in, 2 quarts a day, and make payments
For
on it.
those kids.
And orange juice and cod liver oil we gave them in those days.
Hot liver. God.
And
Oatmeal.
still, the $5 a week for our groceries, but we had to buy 2 quarts of milk a day. But I think they were like 13 cents a quart. But, and what were you making then? 75 or something?
Well, when we
You didn't
moved
get
up there,
raise.
I wrote back to Kansas City and I said, we can't find any place that doesn't have a pimp on one side and a prostitute on the other. And they got
For
to
the
have more
money we had to
Yeah.
pay.
So,
He gave them a
we got
little
more
raise.
money.
And then in what?
I wish I'd have kept a copy of that letter, guys, darn it.
Jack and Jean were about 3, I think, when we, Kermit got clear up to $100, wasn't it?
Well, that was in the scene.
No, when we rented our house in Omaha, down in Florence.
Oh. Yeah, I think
But
so.
see, that was a month,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what wages were like at that time. Of course, that's all you had was a place to live and food and transportation.
No
Did you have a car?
Didn't have a car for, oh, I don't know, many years.
Then after the war
1947,
started,
after the war.
Kermit was transferred to Racine, Wisconsin, which is the head office of Massey Harris. And he was in the accounting department there, and as usual, that's what he was doing. And they wrote and kept, the boss did, to keep Kermit out of service because he was in essential industry, because Massey Harris manufactured
Thanks.
tanks in
Oh.
in Racine. And then he was making 100 and a quarter, I'm sure. And he went up a little.
So
That's
you
how
got,
we got to Racine.
So what
I see.
year did you move to Race?
About 34.
Did what?
When we
Moved to
moved.
Racine from Omaha. You were in Omaha in 37.
Oh, no, it'd been,
Later than that.
Jack and Jean were 6 years old, were 5 years old, just ready to
42.
start school,
42.
Yeah.
kindergarten.
Uh-huh.
You were in Omaha then about 5 years, and about 5 years in Racine.
It was 6 years in Racine, I think.
6.
Oh.
and you'd gone as far as you, finally, as far as you could there. and
Don
so-
was born in Racine. He was 2 years old when we moved out here.
What do you remember about Racine?
Oh,
Beautiful,
yeah,
right on
the-
the lake.
thing I remember the most was the lake, of course, Lake Michigan. And then the next thing I remember most was the toboggan slide in the wintertime. Remember that?
And Jack and Jean learned to
Ice
swim right in Lake Michigan. There was a little beach just 2 blocks from one of our place we lived.
I always remember the story about the fire on the beach and Mom almost fell into
Yeah.
the fire.
She did fall in the
Did fall
Her
in the
hand
fire.
did.
Uh-huh.
And one time Jack came home,
You
just
remember
a
that?
ball on his head off from the park. And his sled, he'd gone down a hill and his sled had gone over and broken through the ice.
Oh, God.
And he was able to get out of it because it wasn't very deep, a couple of feet maybe. And he just bawled his head off because he thought that sled was gone for good.
And it was his first sled and he didn't want to lose it. It was about 2 feet long. He'd gotten it when he was, it was maybe 3 years old,
Yeah.
you know, we bought him a little Mitzi sled. Herman had to go down and fish his sled out.
Yeah, I remember you've always talked about, was it the Hilbs in Racine?
Still,
Stilbs. That were-
Hilbs in Denver.
Hilbs in Denver.
Yeah.
And the Stilbs were, he was a doctor?
no,
I
Well,
think
that
of
was
someone
Dr.
else.
her father was a
Boyer.
doctor.
No, I'm thinking of somebody else.
Dr.
Boyer.
Dr.
No,
Helene
Oh.
Boyer.
no,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of somebody else.
Yeah, they lived above us, still lives next to us
Uh-huh.
on
Oh,
College
Still.
Avenue.
He had a shoe store.
Oh, I'm still thinking of someone else. But anyway, Stilbs were good friends. I've heard you talk about them
Yeah.
a lot.
Well,
Oh,
we were good
goodness.
friends with the
We didn't
neighbors,
have
too.
any money, you know, of course. And on Friday nights, they'd take us out to a beer joint where they had beer and, those little fish.
I don't know the name of them. They call
Kippers?
them Big Fish.
Huh?
Kippers?
No. No, out of Lake Michigan.
Smelt?
Smelt. That's it. Yeah. And boy, oh boy.
Also, they took us to Chicago to see The Voice of the Turtle.
Voice of the Turtle, what was
Uh-huh.
that?
Well, it was a stage play that was
Huh.
very well known the
Huh.
first time. And the Glass Menagerie
Uh-huh.
on stage, first
Huh.
time it was shown.
Wow.
I can't think of that
Meters.
operetta that we saw in Milwaukee, can you?
Well, we saw a couple of them.
Yeah.
But they were musicals of one was Foster, wasn't it?
Meter.
Life of Foster, Stephen Foster. I don't remember. Anyway,
He's an engineer.
we had good neighbors. They
Oh
were really
boy,
good
I'll
to
tell you,
us.
the first Christmas we were there, they just brought down bushel baskets full of presents. And I mean bushel baskets.
Yeah.
Story's over, Greg. Nothing more interesting here. Oh, my.
What about
Me
the
and my
Needers?
big
I've heard
mouth.
you talk about them too.
Yeah, she was, Mrs. Nieder was the head of the radiology department at the hospital there.
Okay.
And she went from that hospital to, what was that hospital that she went to?
Was this
Uh,
Racine too?
Yeah,
Yeah, to
Chicago.
Chicago.
Well, did they live near you? Was that it?
They
We
lived
lived
right
above
above
us. Uh-huh.
Well, the Stilbs, where do they live?
that's right next
to
door.
us.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Housing was scarce at that time in Racine. And we
Well, we wouldn't
couldn't,
have got any if it hadn't been for my boss. He's the guy who,
we wouldn't have found a place to live. We had to pay $35. And that was almost more than we could afford. But it was only place, and these people were more well-to-do than we would normally afford a neighborhood, you know. And that's the reason we were there, and they were so good to us, did so many things for us. Kurt worked, sold shoes on Saturday afternoon for Still.
Origins of the dry goods business.
Right.
well, I learned how to fit a shoe too.
Well, you sold them for just with an independent company or what?
No, worked at Stilb's shoe store.
Oh, they have a shoe store.
Yeah.
And the way we went into the store, we couldn't have done it without borrowing money from my dad.
Mhm.
That's where we got the money to buy our share of the store.
And Ross had done well during the war, was that it?
Yes, the farmers at that time did very well. The price was good, and they'd had good years of rain,
Good deal.
and all farmers made money in those years. That's when my dad first began to accumulate something, you know.
Did he have dairy cows or corn?
Did I?
Wheat.
Oh, wheat.
Wheat, huh?
Oh,
Joe had dairy cows.
okay. Didn't Joe have corn also
Well,
though?
he raised his own feed.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it was
Silo,
Indian
Insulage.
corn.
Oh, okay.
Insulage. Well, corn too.
Yeah, some corn.
He put it in his, for Inslee's.
Well, how did your mother, Kermit, get in the dry goods business? What was
Well,
the
my dad-
origin of that?
My dad passed away out of Fowler, Colorado
And what year was that?
in, oh goodness,
1937.
yeah, the year the twins were born,
What?
when my dad passed away.
Oh, a couple of months before.
Yeah. So it was either 37 or 36, one of the two. But at any rate, he had, I think, a couple $1,000 worth of life insurance. And she bought a little dress shop
10,000.
in Fowler. Huh?
10,000.
Oh, surely not.
Pretty good inheritance.
Yeah. If you say so. And
It's empty.
so,
Had she known anything about the business? She just decided that that would be the way to
yeah.
make a living.
And she was very unsuccessful. So
Unsuccessful.
the salesman talked her into buying a general store at Tribune, which she did. I'll never forget her telling about the straw hats. There was a Jewish man, Simon Fishman, and he watched over her buying, and especially on the straw hats. And he kept telling her to buy more, and she thought he was absolutely crazy. And he said, no, you're gonna need more. And so she'd buy some more. And that isn't enough, you gotta have some more. And she said she went home that night and she just sweat blood. Because she's afraid she spent all her money on straw hats. But in those days, the combines came through, and those guys were just absolutely crazy in the way they spent money. They were.
Well,
And they all wanted straw hats?
there was no place to wash clothes. And they had, so if they wanted to change their clothes, they
They
had to
had to
buy a
buy
new
new ones,
outfit.
throw their old ones away,
Really?
take them home or something.
Huh.
If it rained, you just were really busy.
Yeah.
But Kermit's mother had spent her life as a housewife. She had never done anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So when you consider,
It's a big step.
she
Oh,
went
yeah.
from that into running a store
Pretty amazing.
successfully.
Mm-hmm.
And there again, during the war,
Mm-hmm.
it was easy to make money. So anyway, the boys didn't want to, Ken and Keith didn't want to go into the store business. And Kermit thought that he would like to be in business for himself.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad had always helped my brothers, so he thought, well, maybe it's time we did something, And so he loaned money to Kermit and me.
To start the store here.
Uh-huh.
Why did you settle on Sharon Springs per se?
Because there was a store
opening.
for sale.
Oh, that's what you said, yeah.
And they knew this end of the country.
Bought up some Carter's.
His mother did.
Yeah.
Margaret Carter.
Huh.
Did she run it?
Yeah, of course, he worked in there too. Floyd did.
Did he?
Uh-huh.
That was before he was in the bank?
No, he was
No, he was in
in
the
the
bank.
In the bank.
But in the evenings, he would come over and help out in the store.
Good darn.
And,
On Saturdays, you opened up at 8 and you closed at 9 at night, or 10.
Really? You were
yeah,
that
whenever
busy?
whenever the show was over.
I can remember that.
'Cause that's when the
Jeannie
fun-
and I were
Yeah,
courting,
Yeah,
coming over, and you guys would still be working in the store.
and the,
Late at night.
the farmers come to town and eat supper and go to the show and shop late at night after they're through with their farm work, So in order to get your share of the business, you stayed open. You had good business
Really?
on Saturday night.
Hmm.
Outside that, it was 8 to 6, wasn't it, Kermit?
Mhm.
I didn't work for the first 4 years till Dawn got in school. I stayed home, and then I started working. I started working regular at the store when Gene Ralph got married.
Hmm. Oh, you weren't working regularly until then?
No,
Oh, I thought you had been.
not really.
Part-time.
Just sometimes.
Sometimes.
Don was born, when again, 48?
6.
46. 46.
no, you're wrong. About 45. Because you were born in 37, and Don was born 8 years after,
Almost 9.
almost 9.
His birthday has been,
Yes, his birthday is November the,
Second.
get the book out.
right up there. Just open that door.
Anyway, November of 45 from February of
Yeah, right
37.
up- Right above your hand.
And
You
nobody
had to turn
can,
around where you
8
could see
years.
it.
and-
everybody
It's on the door.
can tell stories of being poor about those days.
Well, what are some stories of being poor? Well,
Where is it?
you weren't so,
November 2nd, 1945.
All right, all right.
you were poor. Everyone was,
Everyone was poor, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
wasn't nearly as, you didn't think about it as much, and everybody was in the same boat.
Now I expect the poorest, the story about the more hardship was my brother Gerald's,
Yeah.
and trying to feed 4 little kids. Finally went to California, like the Okies,
Oh, yeah?
and
Is that how they went? They loaded everything up on a truck and
in
drove out?
in my dad's car,
Wow.
and went to California.
Hmm.
Went to work in the beet fields for $1 an hour, and he always stayed in. Well, he harvested beets for a long time, and he hoed beets for not $1 an hour, $1 a day. Is the way he when they first went.
Yeah,
out
$1
there.
an hour seems like a lot in those days.
And today he's a multi-millionaire. so there's just no telling.
way.
Yeah,
No hard work's all it takes.
yeah, darn right. That's what he did. Keep your nose to the grindstone. Still in farming, still in, started out farming for the beet company, and that's how he got his start.
What do you think were high points or low points of the dry goods business?
Oh, I think the highest point was right when prices took that big jump in, what year?
I don't know what you,
I guess I was thinking, what do you like?
All
What did you like
prices.
most about it and least about it? And
Oh.
the personal side of it.
Personal side of it was Christmas time when you were helping people pick out gifts.
I bet that was fun, yeah.
You liked the shoe end of it too, didn't you? Remember?
Yeah.
Just-
But sure bought too heavy in the women's shoes, gosh.
I like buying. I like buying. I
Yeah.
like selling.
Yeah.
I hated bookwork.
Mhm.
I enjoyed it.
I like working with people,
Mhm.
but I like buying real well.
I like the story
Picking up
Don put into the
Oh, yeah.
family. Do you remember that?
I read it, I can't remember the story right
Well,
off.
you guys related it. It's about Ruth picking out
Oh,
dresses that
dress.
held,
yeah,
that,
So-and-so.
you know, this is for
right.
Eileen Hoover.
Right, this is for Betty Swanson.
Yeah.
I did.
That's great.
I picked out the better dresses
Mhm.
that way that I wouldn't normally sell
Yeah.
for the people who I knew their taste and
Uh-huh.
they depended on me to bring them something.
Well, Celia Douglas
And
used to,
they'd almost, well, Marion did, a lot of people did.
Uh-huh.
I remember the trips to, I even remember the trips to Denver to market.
Yeah.
I remember
We were-
one or two trips.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah.
That was so
Because I
much.
usually got an outfit. That's what I
Yeah.
remember.
Great adventure.
Go to Joe Awful Coffees and
Yeah.
walk over there on 17th. That
I
was
don't remember
big
that.
time stuff.
I remember
He'd
that.
go around, Joe Awful Coffee would go around singing top of his voice to everybody. Do you
Who's
remember?
Joe
I missed that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who was that? Joe Offertoff.
He was
A
the owner of a
restaurateur.
restaurant, and that was
Oh.
what we
Joe Coffey was his actual name, and the awful
Oh, I didn't know that.
Chill Awful Coffee, oh.
He had pictures on the walls of prize fighters and movie stars that had been to the restaurant. It was a pretty well-known watering place.
This was the restaurant that you go to
Huh?
before you went to
Nothing,
the
I
Hills,
just-
you mean?
Well, it was just a place
Part
that
of
wasn't
the
too
whole-
far from the wholesale district,
I
and we
see.
would walk over there and maybe have lunch.
Yeah, it was only a block and a half or something like that.
Oh, they treated us
It
like
seemed like
boys.
miles.
Yeah.
Hills did, always did.
Yeah.
Never a time they'd greet you like their best friend, and you go back and have coffee with the people in the office, and they take you to lunch, and they treated you.
Wine and dine you, extended
One
credit.
time, we came, and I looked in the president's office, old Isidore Stibbs, or Isidore Hill's office, and here was a whole bunch of Indians in a circle. They had on their hats, and on, they were all smoking a big cigar, and he was passing drinks around to them, and they would come in about every 3 months or 6 months, I've forgotten which
I
it is.
I don't know.
And they would buy for the reservation.
Really?
Oh, it was quite a,
Were they from Five Points, or
I don't know where they were from.
Five Corners, or whatever?
Five
it
Corners,
is?
maybe, yeah.
But Hills used to extend you credit in bad
Oh,
Yeah,
you bet.
Bad times.
They kept us going lots of
Yeah.
times. Dad was the best juggler you ever saw. He wasn't a bookkeeper for nothing.
Juggler of figures, you mean?
It was a lot of fun. All the grandkids had fun, good memories of Hilb and
Oh,
Company.
yeah. Yeah.
Every one of them. And
I think
the buying was lots of fun.
Mhm.
It really was.
I remember getting this, I think it was from Hills, this coat one time that I really loved. With like fur cuffs
Had
and
to be.
fur hood.
Yeah.
It was really great.
Yeah.
But we weren't sorry to get out.
No,
No, well, it was time.
We
quite a
had
few
it.
years.
How many years?
Oh, we were in the store at least 30 years.
35,
Wow.
wasn't it?
Let's see, we went in January 1st of 48. That's when we opened up.
Retired in 80.
1/1/48, and we retired March 16th, I think it was, of 80. So that's 32 years, 2 months and 15 days.
We almost split it.
It's a long time.
Yep.
Sure is to be on your feet. Do your washing it on what we call the weekends, which was Sunday.
Oh, yeah, you
We
worked
worked
6 days.
6 hours, 6 days a week.
That's a lot.
But I cannot for the life of me remember what year it was that prices, everything tripled. And some things more than that.
Well, the biggest change for us was when we moved from downtown to uptown. And at
Yeah.
that time, the county was raising Ralph Stanley.
Was doing what?
Stanley.
Oh.
The county just had put in the beats. And we had the migrant laborers coming in.
Oh, and they were
And
good.
we had good business. I tell you, that made all the difference in the world to us, was the beats in the county and the migrant laborers. We made money in those years.
This was in the, must have been in the 60s, 50s and 60s.
I'd say
That's
que
60s.
cintura pantalones.
What is that, something pants size?
Yeah, the waist.
Oh, the waist, yeah.
Cintura. And, oh goodness, underwear was,
I can't remember the words.
can't even remember socks.
Camisa?
Camisa. Si.
We had,
Camisa, camiseta. Camiseta.
there were lots
Little
of
Mm-hmm.
The undershirt.
Mexican workers. I was trying to think the name for the Mexican workers.
Illegals?
Some of them were illegals, some of them were legals who came over, and they were the ones that didn't speak much English.
You mean Barrios?
Huh?
Barrios?
No, I don't think so.
Barrios.
No, that isn't it. That's town, isn't it? District.
District, I guess, yeah.
At Trabajo or something.
Oh,
like that.
yeah, workers.
Not,
Uh,
workers.
Anyway,
you were down there how long? 6
6
months?
months.
they
Yeah.
bought lots of things to send home. And just business in general. Well, the local people were in the chips at
Oh,
that
yeah.
time too. And we had lots of business going into business, remember? A lot
Mhm.
of people going into new businesses here. Chuck was really going good.
I remember your putting back a coat. It was a fairly expensive coat. I think it was $30 for one of the migrant workers. It was I don't know when it was, summertime maybe. And the migrant worker, being a migrant worker, was moving all over, going up to Nebraska and so forth. And he paid on this coat, was buying it for his wife. Paid on this coat, I think, probably for a year. Would send a couple dollars back a month, and then he came the next summer and he picked it up and took it back. But
We had every right to put that back on the
oh yeah, I didn't think
hang
it was,
it out.
didn't think it was
sell
very many people who would keep it back, hold it back for a year for
But
somebody.
that sure
to-
meant a lot to those people
Yeah,
when you did that for them.
yeah.
Yeah, we did that quite a lot. And you never give credit because they just aren't that reliable.
What were the downsides of
But
the
we had one
business?
person who we always gave credit to. One Mexican woman and her parents. Every spring they'd come in for straw hats and we'd give them credit.
Hard work.
Long hours and
Credit.
hard work. and
People didn't pay the bills.
Well, we
It's the
didn't
hardest.
have too much trouble with credit.
Yeah.
I think we were in business 32 years and we lost how much? About $500, something like that.
Oh, that's good.
It sure wasn't any more than
On
that.
average,
I've
yeah.
lost a lot more than that in the last 2 years.
Who has?
I have.
Oh,
Well,
is that right?
sometimes you didn't get paid for a number of years.
Yeah, you lost it.
We had kids go into the service owing us a bill who would pay it when they came out
Hmm.
and things like that, you know.
4 years later.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but they would come in and pay it when they got back. One of the Garcia boys, Louis, left town under duress, and he must have been gone 10 years. When he came back, do you remember Louis Garcia, the oldest one?
No, I don't remember. I remember the name,
Yeah.
so.
And when he came back to town, he paid that bill.
Mhm.
He didn't dare come back before that, I guess. That was an amazing thing.
Yeah.
But he came in and paid it
Mhm.
and bought some more things from us.
I think his wife had something to do with that too.
Oh, I think he did it himself, you know. We got along pretty well. And he wanted to buy some things, so he paid his bill first. I thought that was nice.
Did you move into the house here when you first came to
Mhm.
Sharon?
I think so,
You
yeah.
hadn't lived anywhere else?
Mhm. Well, yeah, we moved to Tribune with, and lived with Kermit's mother for a while because we couldn't find anything here.
Mhm.
And actually, she bought this house, and we all lived here until she moved. She built her house, and we
Right.
bought this from her.
Mhm.
Then.
Have you added on to this, or has it just been, it was just been
This used to be
remodeled?
a bedroom.
This was this was Ginny's bedroom.
Mhm.
And that, there was the living room was right, or dining room was right out there.
It's
That
part of the
kind of
living
bay
room,
window
yeah.
was where
Yeah.
the table was.
Yeah.
You remember that too?
Oh, yeah.
Michelle?
I remember
The
probably
wall's
from
right up
pictures.
there.
and- I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know
we
if I
have
remember
pictures,
if
we
didn't
have
lots
pictures of it,
Oh,
of the living room, you know.
Seabiscuit used to hang in this room.
No, it wasn't Seabiscuit.
Yeah,
I think it
No.
was.
no,
What'd she say?
No, it wasn't Seabiscuit.
Seabiscuit, horse,
The racehorse.
What about it?
that used to hang in this room.
Oh, Man of War.
Man o' War.
There's a difference.
One of the first of the
Maybe they
greats,
both did.
wasn't it, in U.S.?
They were both great horses. I
Yeah.
don't know which one
Yeah.
was first.
I gave that not
You
too long
remember
ago
such
to
Interesting
a
things.
ranch family, you know, their kid wanted it. When I was cleaning out some stuff. I suppose now you wanted that picture.
No, no.
Actually, it was a calendar picture. that
Was
we
it?
framed,
Huh.
Let's do the dishes, Jenny.
Yep.
That's
Get
gonna
up,
be a
move
long,
around.
boring thing, Greg. Do you edit those?
We'll just have to see.
Let's hope so.